The focus today, this evening, is on Donald Trump's appearance in court and the sentencing in New York for the hush money case. It's a moment of high drama that in practice has amounted to very little. After a trial that captured world attention, Trump now president-elect. Of course, he is in fact not only president-elect, he's president-elect Trump, but he's also president-elect President Trump, was handed a sentence of unconditional discharge. In simpler terms, a guilty verdict with no consequence. And this spectacle was framed as an historic reckoning, the first criminal trial of a sitting US president, or not quite sitting US president, and yet its conclusion feels like watching the credits roll on a blockbuster film, only to realise it was all build-up and no resolution, all skirt and no knickers. And Trump, convicted on 34 counts of falsifying business records, avoids jail, fines, even probation supervision. The only consequence, the dubious distinction of being the first convicted felon to occupy the Oval Office, and one could almost hear him boast, "Another first for me." But what does that do to the sense of justice? Trump, appearing via video, called the case a political witch hunt, a refrain so well rehearsed it could be a trademark. It could be branded as a trademark. His performance was vintage Trump, equal parts grievance, bravado, and victimhood. He painted himself as a martyr, targeted not for his actions but for his political aspirations. His supporters cheered, his critics groaned, and the rest of us are left wondering if this was law or theatre or something ill-defined. Judge Juan Merchan, no stranger to the circus surrounding Trump, delivered the sentence with a measured acknowledgement of the political and legal tightrope that he was walking. Merchan emphasised the seriousness of the crime, but also noted the complexities of sentencing a president-elect. And his decision not to impose jail time reflects the unprecedented and bizarre reality of the situation. I think on reflection it would have been better for him to have delayed everything until after the president finishes his term of office. After all, how does one jail the incoming leader of the free world? One doesn't. This case was as much about legal strategy as it was about justice, and Trump's team played a masterclass in delay tactics, leveraging appeals and exploiting legal ambiguities surrounding presidential immunity. And Judge Merchan, aware of the stakes and the optics, cautiously navigated those waters, but I don't think he's made friends. While he refused to overturn the jury's verdict, he ultimately opted for a sentence that balanced legality with pragmatism. It was a damp squib, and the Supreme Court's 5-4 decision allowing sentencing to proceed reinforced the complexity of prosecuting a former and future president. And the justices grappled with the intersection of law, politics, and practicality, delivering a narrow ruling that kept the trial moving but left broader questions unanswered. What does this mean for the justice system, for democracy, for Trump's second term, and the message it sends to the wider world? On paper, Trump is now a convicted felon. Yet in practice, the conviction carries no tangible consequences. He's free to assume the presidency, wield executive power with the shadow of a criminal record trailing after him like the slime after a slug. For his supporters, this reinforces the narrative of a persecuted hero. For his detractors, it underscores their belief that justice is reserved for the powerless. Outside the courtroom, the usual protests unfold. Anti-Trump demonstrators demanded accountability, while his loyalists decried the trial as partisan sabotage, and both sides missed the anticlimactic reality. The trial ended not with a bang, but with a shrug. Or with a slug. In the end, Trump's unconditional discharge epitomizes the paradox of his political career: monumental controversies that somehow yield minimum consequence. He emerges from this trial not chastened but emboldened, spinning the narrative to suit his needs. The real jury, he declared, has spoken, pointing to his re-election as vindication. And as Trump prepares to take the White House, this trial will join the long list of scandals that define his legacy: a tempest in a teacup, a spectacle of much fuss and little effect. And so, is this a chapter closed in the Trump saga, or a chapter opened not with a resolution, but with the uneasy realization that, as the world of Donald Trump develops, accountability is simply an illusion.